Oh yeah, I wish.
All I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be my choice too.
You're not gonna hop on the little PlayStation?
I stay away from, our guys are too good, which is a good thing. Well, thanks for being here, everyone. I thought it was important that we showed you what we think is an integral piece. Do you want me to?
Yeah, I got you.
Wait for you. I'll wait for you. Well, first of all, thanks for coming. Inviting you here today, I wanted to open it up to our media. This recovery center is really an integral piece of the football operations center, and it was a missing piece. And we think now that we now know that this entire football operations building is a high-performance center. And with this addition, we believe that we have the finest operations building in the country. So what is it exactly? It allows us now to keep our players in a position where they can recover, and we can get our players to perform at the highest level all year. And that's what this is about. We're talking about the potential of 17 college football games, which is equal to an NFL schedule. And to do that, they've got to learn about recovery. At first we built this area, and it was quote unquote seen as the players' lounge. And I'm saying this in all honesty. This is where the guys now come to wait for treatments, and that's a really good thing. And it becomes a waiting room now for them to get into the sleep room or to get downstairs into a number of different modalities. And I think it's important that you get that perspective from the head football coach, but I think our head athletic trainer can best work you through this building and show you really the most important elements. And you're going to see there are a couple of other things here. There's certainly a barber shop. There's an ability for our guys to do podcasts, to do branding here. So there are other opportunities. As you can see, the guys can relax here. They can go out and be on a balcony. But the real focus here was for recovery. And that's what we want to show you today is how we go through that. Yesterday was a recovery, today is a recovery day for our team, but it's an optional recovery day because it is a day off. We'll have 4 rotations today where our guys will go through 4 different stations of recovery. And Owen is going to kind of show you the stations. We have our staff in position to show you that. Owen is going to kind of work you through the building and show you the different areas. But I thought I would just kick it off. And Owen, if you could come on up here. And he's really been the force in driving this and getting this to the educational piece that Owen has presented to our team and how to use everything has really gotten this thing off the ground to the point where our players want to be here. So, Owen, I'm going to let you take it and kind of move it from here.
All right, thanks, sir. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, BK. Do you want to talk to Owen now, or do you want to I'd like to see everything and then ask you what we saw. if that's
Sure,
good with you.
100%.
Okay.
100%. That worked great.
Thanks.
We'll walk through it. You guys tell me how you want to run through this.
Slowly?
Well, welcome, guys. As you can tell, kind of one of the areas from right off the players' lounge. We have our barber shop over here. Kind of create that atmosphere, team atmosphere, where they can kind of get together, collaborate, chop it up, kind of deal with what their daily stuff is that they want to talk to each other about. But it's a good team bonding deal. And then Brandon's here. This is our branding area. I know branding. I kind of ran together really weird, but he's going to talk about this area that we developed for our guys as well.
Yeah, so they're putting the, finally finishing touches on it. We'll be able to host podcasts in here. We'll meet with our players, talk about their brand, NIL, and then you can see it's the path to your brand. So it goes back to that path for whatever you want to do. So life outside of football, really cool pictures of guys that have been here, and just showing off everything that we can do here at LSU. So like I said, it'll be 225 Studios. We'll host podcasts. We'll do interviews in here. But just a cool spot for our guys to build off the platform that we have here.
And you'll notice through this whole thing that there's a flow to it on purpose, that we have all that area right here as the players' lounge where guys will be able to just chill, link up, talk through, do this, get comfortable, get in the barbershop, and then be able to create their brand as well as a recovery piece with locker rooms, with coaches' offices, and then flow downstairs into the other area. It's a very efficient use of space and time for our student athletes, since they're obviously full of academics, and having that all in one building where it's right there, they can collaborate with each other, and then as well as staff, it lends to all of us collaborating even further. So we'll kind of see that as we flow through the building. Right now, we'll actually take you down this hallway down here, which is one of our big recovery suites that we have 3 different areas in, and we'll talk through all those areas. But we also have Dr. Arnold's office down here, another key component to just our player development, both on and off the field. And what's nice about having his office up here, again, is this is a collection point. So all of our guys are going to pass through here. So they know Dr. Arnold's right there and have access to him at any time. Again, one of the things that we really want to invest in is our guys, both on and off the field, and that's a good way to do it as well. So follow me, we'll go into our recovery suite.
You see the lighting, just to add.
So in here, guys, what you'll see is this is our Normatec and massage chair area, right? So this is all about getting rid of the lactic acid that builds up in guys in their lower body after a day of practice or being in the weight room. You know, you develop some lactic acid buildup in your lower body. If that stays in there, you know, that creates lack of protein synthesis. It creates more issues with recovery. Your body isn't able to turn around, and you actually get degradation of muscle, right? So one of the key components is having guys come in here using our Normatecs, which are graduated compression, kind of flushing out their lower body from all that lactic acid so they can be rejuvenated and their legs can then develop that protein synthesis and be able to do what they're asked to do day in and day out, both on and off the field. We also added a big hyper-ice section here, which with our massage guns, vibrating rollers, and vibrating spheres. Again, another way of that myofascial release tools that we like to develop with guys. We give them programs, teach them. They can download videos that we have in their files so they can go through if they're dealing with something or they just want a general overbody myofascial release. They can use those tools, and we have videos specifically made up for them. They can come in this room, get that, and combine it with our Normatec chairs. From there, we're going to go into what will be our sleep pod area, as well as our hydrotherapy massage beds. Go back to sleep, and then we'll turn the lights off for you in a second. At night, okay? You're not going to get as much recovery as you would in regular sleep because of REM sleep, but these are close. And you go to 20 to 45 minutes. They have special lighting, special music to be able to get you in a place of sleep and sound sleep. They also have heat and vibration as well, so we can adjust temperature, we can adjust incline, whatever is most comfortable. It's supposed to be 0 gravity, so it's going to get you into that state of full body recovery. Again, that goes back to both physical and mental well-being and being able to get yourself in a better place. And with the schedule our guys have, these are huge because sometimes, right, you're up studying, you got a midterm, you got a quiz, you got whatever, you might be studying late at night. You need to come out and make up that sleep banking. It's basically called sleep banking, is being able to make up that sleep. And this is the way to do it, because sleeping in a locker room where there's background ambient noise and all that other stuff that'll distract you, you won't actually get that quality sleep. But you can actually do true sleep banking in these nap pods. Now, what you don't see, because it's not completely fully functional yet, behind that door is called our neuroplasticity lab. All right, and the reason why we put it in there with these, I'll tell you in a second. But the neuroplasticity lab is a place that we're going to bring guys in, do some kind of mental prep, neurocognitive prepping with reaction time, and then use VR goggles with Jack Marucci and his group, use VR goggles to show up different formations of opponents that we're going to have, be able to look through that, get different coverage options, read through whatever quarterback can do his reads, all those kinds of things in real live time on new opponents, right? Anybody we might be facing down the road. So when they learn all that, the best way to do and retain that information is to take a nap right afterwards. So anything you learn brand new, you're going to want to retain that information through napping afterwards instead of going about your business. You'll actually retain 75% more of that new information if you take a nap after learning something new than if you just go about your business or go grab a coffee or whatever you want to do for the rest of the day. So that's the other reason why we kind of put this combination together in here. Cutting edge technology of neuroplasticity and how to actually develop that memory and that cognition to a higher level on a consistent basis. So that's kind of what we use this general area for.
Do the domes rotate then?
Yes, sir, the domes rotate and close off.
So we should all take naps.
All should take naps after you learn something new, if you want to retain it. All right.
Great life.
All right, we good, guys? All right, so this is our regeneration room, right? We call it a regeneration room because that's exactly what it's for everybody to get their body back in a better place than where we left it off, right? Again, we're taxing our student athletes both physically and mentally every day, right? So the point of this is to be able to get everybody's body back and at a cellular level back to status quo or even better than what it was before it went into that activity. So what we have here is we have our cryo chamber right there. That's a 3-minute treatment. It's like minus 155 degrees Fahrenheit. You go in there for 3 minutes, and that'll be a full body cryotherapy. I will tell you this, our guys love using it, not just from a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. They go in there and they feel rejuvenated, they feel refreshed, they're ready to get after the rest of the day. And you can do that almost any point in time during the day. A lot of guys like to do it right after going to classes before they got to get geared up for practice. So we give them about 2-3 hours to get recovered from that treatment session, and then they're ready to go out on the field, but both refreshed mentally and physically. And then this is our red light therapy. This is actually cellular mechanics. This basically helps the mitochondria in the cells act faster and synthesize protein quicker, which helps recovery quicker. So 20 minutes in this is all about cellular recovery and being able to produce more cells, because every time we do anything in the weight room, in rehab, out on the field, we're breaking down cells, right? So it's all about regeneration. So every time you break something out, you want to regenerate it. So this is one of our big pieces that our guys like to use. It also has a good aspect, or a good mental aspect, where guys can really use this from a vitamin D therapy session as well, and they get that going through their body so that they actually synthesize more neurotransmitters within their brain, have better activity throughout brain function. So those are the two things that we have in this room. We're actually going to be adding another cryo chamber, and we're going to be adding a hyperbaric oxygen chamber as well to this room in the next 6 months. Again, also just talking about that cellular recovery level, because we want to work from the ground up, right? And so everything comes from a cellular recovery standpoint first. So that's kind of why we named this our regeneration room. Any questions on this room?
How do you guys schedule this? Like, is there an app that they use to like book times, like how does?
Yep, so we have a staff of 6 full-time members. So for the light bed, we have guys reach out to us. We have a staff member that's in charge of scheduling this light bed out. And what's nice about the cryo chamber is I can fit 3 to 4 guys in at once. So we usually don't have any kind of backup when it comes to scheduling out the cryo chamber. It's kind of first come, first serve, and we get guys cranked out with it only being a 3-minute session. We can get through the majority of the team pretty quickly.
What's the oxygen chamber that you mentioned that you guys are gonna get in the next 6 months?
Yep, so hyperbaric chamber is basically a chamber where you pump in pure oxygen and it helps recover the body from a cellular level. So cells get more oxygen delivered to them. So if they have any damage, we have any damaged cells, it actually heals those cells quicker and just kind of processes that body regeneration a little bit faster than me and you just breathing normal oxygen out here.
It's just a different way of regeneration.
Yep, just another tool to the tool belt of regeneration.
Owen, can I get you to do a little show and tell with the door here?
Yeah, anybody want to get in it?
I'll get it.
Just take your phone and camera out, you don't want to break any lenses or anything.
Here,
Let me double check, make sure it's,
These two,
I grew up in Maine, so
well,
Can I get video before you guys?
Yeah. I'm from near Buffalo, so we got to try her out.
there you go.
I used to work in a -20 freezer.
I won't keep you in there for 3 minutes because
No,
you
no,
don't
no.
have the mittens and all that other fun stuff.
So I'm
So if we
wondering
get locked
how.
in there, we're just gonna run away.
So
That's all right.
guys will put on ski hats or toboggans or whatever you guys want to call them, and then mittens and little foot covers just because of the appendages and the extreme cold. We want to make sure we protect all that going in. They'll go in just shorts with no shirt on, and we'll show you how it works. Get
We'll be
ready
nice.
first.
We'll be nice. I'll leave the shirt off.
Just open the door before you go.
Yep.
I just wanna-
Yep.
Yeah, I'll let you do that first. That should be. Let me just get that shot. I'm just gonna.
Thank you.
All right. You good?
Everybody good?
All right.
Go for it, buddy.
All right. Thank you.
I'm going too, I ain't gonna.
Ooh.
Wow. We're done. It's over.
All right, we'll see you guys. I got a lockout here too.
That'd be terrifying.
Don't put that on there.
Yeah, we'll cut that.
Cut that out, please.
This is a blooper reel, right?
Yeah. Oh, you get that because your lungs it'll crystallize, like your lungs get that cold air.
That's all.
Yes, so our Boudreaux boxes don't get. All right, we're going. Good to go.
Oh, yes, somebody did do that one.
Oh, that's right. Looks like I got a phone. All right, so these are our float pods, right? So if you guys have ever heard of zero gravity salt pods or salt float pods, this is what it is, only we're not doing real actual water based. Most of them are water based where you have to float in water with a high content of salt, right? It's harder for student athletes in the human body to actually be able to get that REM sleep that you want within these. So again, this is a 20 to 45 minute treatment. So what we did was we have that salt, that salt water that gives you that buoyancy, only we put it in a bed wrap so that you can actually fall asleep, right? You're not worried about turning over, maybe, anyways, all the fear that comes with water and trying to sleep in water, right? You don't have that fear here. It's actually a zero gravity bed. And again, what the use for this for is big on neurocognition, right? It's really huge on cellular brain recovery. So we actually like to use these both from a standpoint of full body recovery, but we'll do these with anybody that has a concussion history or is actively returning from a concussion. I have a lot of really good results on fully healing those concussions and coming back without having recurrence of a concussion, or at least getting them through the tougher stages a lot quicker. And so again, that helps that brain healing a lot quicker and more thoroughly. And basically you just sit in here, and it's nice and warm too, it's 91 degrees. Use a couple quick controls, just drop the bed.
Hi guys.
And now he's just floating on water.
usually my legs would sink.
Yep.
So can you give some thoughts? Instant reaction?
I mean, it just supports you really well. Like, I mean, I'm not really feeling the water course, I mean, because all plastic. And you just sort of are suspended.
Yep, just floating.
Yeah.
Hell of a speaker, Wilson. Hell of a speaker.
So normally we tell guys to put on some whatever music they like to chill out to and just kind of fall off into sleep. And it just gets you into a REM sleep a lot quicker because of the anti-gravity component.
I'll stay here for a while.
Yeah. Does anybody want to try the cold tub? You won't want to. Cold tub? It's like 45 degrees, you go feel it. Yeah. Alright, so here's our hydrotherapy area. Again, one of our big uses from a recovery standpoint. We use this a lot as post-practice recovery, right? Because everybody's got their temperature in their body up, right? We're out there for 2.5 hours, 2 hours, whatever it might be. Body's internal temperature is higher, right? You want to get that down as fast as you can so the body doesn't burn up from inside out. Again, if your temperature stays hotter inside the body, then your cellular damage is greater, right? So we want to cool them off as soon as possible. So we'll have our cold tubs in here, get the guys in, get them refreshed, get their core temperature down, helps them recover again, helps to stop that cellular damage, and gets them on the right road to recovery. Another thing we like to use these on recovery days when we don't have practice, we'll do a contrast treatment, we'll do cold and hot therapy, back and forth. Again, it helps with lymph drainage, helps with muscle activation, and again, it helps get all that content that built up throughout the week out of your body and flow so you have better blood flow to the body, better cellular regeneration in the body. So that's kind of what we use this hydrotherapy area for. And then our other area is our underwater treadmill. We have that over here where we can project HD cameras underneath, kind of project that image up to the TV. We like to use that a lot when we're talking about coming back from an injury or we're trying to fix somebody's mechanics. It gets them up to 80% of their body weight off of them. We can go anywhere from 20% body weight to 80% body weight decrease while we're doing it, and then we'll get them running in there, kind of get them working on return to play or kind of fix their mechanics and they get live feedback with the video on what's going on so that they get connected a lot quicker and be able to then produce that back out on the field and make them a more efficient athlete.
This is Dr. Matt Frakes. So you talked about the importance of the rehab and all that. Nutrition just as important.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
You
So,
need any guinea pigs for food.
absolutely. I mean, we got snacks all around this place, so that's not too bad. All right, so we wanted to redo this, right? So we have two separate areas in nutrition over here. Aside from our glorious PNC and Nutrition Center, we wanted to make sure that we're also fulfilling the needs of our players and make sure that we're meeting things that they did not have, the access to, if you will, or that we need to do a better job at making sure they have access to. So we're still putting the final touches on here. So in here you'll see that we're going to have things like meal prep style meals in here for them next to their fluids because we constantly want them hydrating. Constantly doing sweat testing here. We're also part of beta testing as far as research studies and stuff that for our players too to make sure that we're improving their performance and recovery. And we wanted to make sure that it's a quick access point in the middle from athletic development, sports medicine, and straight to the field. Like you always got to come here in the center to make sure that you're fueling for the work required. So that's why you'll see as far as here, fuel for work required, feed the beast, performance nutrition. We want to make sure that they're always eating, always hydrating, always performing, right? And always recovering. So in here, we want them to make sure that they're having even a more home feel. So sit down and eat. Like right now, they're in meetings right now, but you'll actually see the guys sitting here, relaxing in between the times from just a regular breakfast, lunch, and dinner hours. All right, because these guys got to eat anytime between 4 to 7 times a day in order to make sure that they're having what they need, right? So they'll chill, they'll relax. My office is always open, so is my assistant and my fellows, Morgan and Jesse. And we'll make sure that it's more so that we have this kind of home feel that we can also meet their needs on an individual style basis because we don't want everyone to feel like they're getting a cookie cutter plan, but an individual meal plan, an individual as far as any type of meeting your needs plan, regardless of what it may be. All right. So from here in the nutrition area here, this is the home down, sit down feel, and then as you go over here in this next session over there, we can walk over here actually. So in this next section over here, you'll see this is our grab and go area. All right. So from the grab and go area, baby bird. Always have something in their hands. We have guys on protocol to make sure that we are recovering and make sure that we have any type of soft tissue. If they have any type of soft tissue injuries or if they're hurting in that standpoint, we have what they need from a supplementation standpoint. If we have anything for concussion protocols, if we have anything for any type of rehabilitation, we'll have all that stuff for them here so that way there's no reason for them to miss what they need to have, okay? So, like I said, from there, from this grab and go area, now they can come in, it's more so of a footprint to where no one's feeling claustrophobic, because that was something that was missing. And then guys can now make sure that they have the shakes that they need, they can make sure they have the supplements that they need, quick snacks, everything they need to make sure that they are hydrated well and performing well right before they get into the weight room, and also right before they get into the athletic training room. Because that's the one thing that we've been missing as well. It's something to make sure that they have the right tools so that way that the things can connect the dots and the pieces for recovery and performance. All right. So that's our biggest thing as far as from here. And then from the screens here, we're always educating. So right now, like I said, it's a sit-down field, but this is where I will also educate the guys on what they need to do. So for instance, like when we go into USC, so we have the time zone change, hydration strategies, as far as meal timing strategies too, and then make sure that these guys are staying up to par for the transition so we can perform to our optimal level on Sunday. So.
You mentioned the tailored meal plans.
Yes.
When a guy comes in, whether he's a freshman transfer or one of the first guys that sits down to kind of lay that out.
Yes.
What's that process look like and what you can go into?
Yeah, so these the guys always get preseason physicals, right? So in that preseason physical, they'll also get their blood work done. So I'll track any deficiencies from what their labs will tell me that help as far as dictate how much I need to give them from a particular supplementation, right? And then also from there, we also track and see what their body composition is. We like to have a reference between their body composition for what they are currently up to what the NFL, what you're going to see when you go to the NFL. Because I want to make sure I'm providing tools they need to get them to that point. And also so they can have a successful career at that standpoint as well. Because they're not done maturing as soon as they get here. They're still developing between the ages of 23 to 27, right? So I want to make sure that we're getting the best ability for them to develop, and we're not hindering any type of their development too. So yes, from preseason physicals to blood work analysis to body composition assessments 5 times in a year, pre and post spring, pre and post summer, and then also we'll have a mid-season evaluation. Instead of doing it at the end of the season, middle of the season to make sure that we're staying on track and make sure that we're trying to reduce any type of lean muscle mass loss, because if you retain lean muscle mass, then you got a better chance of not being injured. So
When you talk to NFL guys when they come from different stuff, I mean,
yep.
What kind of feedback do you get on the plan that you guys have? Is it pretty up to par with what you're seeing across the country, or is it different than everything else?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I think it's almost better, truth be told. So I'm always gonna say it as far as like, I want them to have access to what you're gonna see at the next level, but also even more. Because then they're also gonna have resources that they have to find on their own, right? So I want them to understand and know what they need to find on their own too, whether it be as far as personal chefs, all right? Rather be as far as working with any type of physical therapist, if you will, from Owen space, making sure that they know what supplements to use on that side of it too. Because you never know what they have as far as when it comes to the person that they're working with at that level, but I want to make sure that they know from a standpoint that they truly understand their bodies and what to do for their bodies in certain situations. So, more questions? All right.
So, welcome to the back half of the last bit of the tour, man. I appreciate you guys coming through. Once again, as Mike said, my name is Jake Flint. I'm the Director of Athletic Development here at LSU. And I kind of say that, and I wanted you guys to kind of, feel the flow of how we, put together this. And that was the biggest thing, and just today giving you guys a little inside look and how it went from the training room to the nutrition area, obviously into the weight room. Typically, we go the other way around. A lot of times, obviously, they'll start in here, do our training session or practice, whatever it may be, and work into the nutrition area, work into the training room. But just to kind of feel the efficiency and the flow of it, And once again, let's go back to how we describe ourselves. And it's about athletic development. And if you guys don't know, I've been with Coach Kelly for going on 21 years, so a long time. And I say that just because I understand the the pride and what it takes for the total process of how we, prepare our guys. And it comes from development. It's truly development from day one when they get here. And so that's where it's a fancy name for a head strength coach. That's what I'm known as a strength coach. But, you can see it along the signs of, LSU athletic development. If you turn around, that's what it's all about, is having the path to elite performance, because that's what it's all about, is making sure these guys understand that it's not just lifting weights and running, but it's everything, right? It's all those things combined with, practicing and recovering well, and having the ability and having the modalities to recover. And that includes all the calories. We were just talking about that, all the calories that they have available to them. There's no questions that they have every bit of opportunity for success. That's the biggest thing for us and for myself and my staff, is to make sure we put them in position to succeed, because that's really what it comes down to. The work and the traits that they have to bring every day, the message is similar, and it's the same across the board. That's where I can lean into my experience with Coach Kelly, with BK, being here, with him for 21 years through the MAC and through the Big East and through, the last place we were at, and now we get to here, and now we get to really tie it all in. And that was the biggest thing that we wanted to kind of showcase with this with this new structure, this new building, this new facility is you guys have to understand how important it is for all of us to come together and collaborate and be cohesive in what we do. Every single day, me and Dr. Frakes and Owen Stanley, along with our position coaches, with Coach Kelly, with everybody, are communicating. And it's all together, to put the plan together. It's not just, I'm going to focus on guys having bigger squat or more of a bench press. That stuff really doesn't matter to me. It's going to happen, and it needs to be a part of what we do, but it's about how we can work together to take maybe a guy that needs to gain more weight or lose weight or keep the same weight and modify his body composition, or have him get more capacity on the field. And it comes from all those things. Knowing when they're on a Thursday, if they're answering the questionnaire and they're letting us know, hey, I didn't sleep that well, I'm a little stressed out, we can put them in a sleep pod, we can put them in a nap pod, and make sure that they can get the proper rest and regeneration before 48 hours out from a game. And now that we have all those things at our fingertips, we know that we can use them and push into them. So that's kind of the biggest thing is that we wanted to emphasize is just that collaboration and the cohesiveness between all of our staffs, to make sure that you guys understand that it's not just working out hard or eating a lot or well, or recovering and having those things. It's all together as one. That's how we, and that's Coach Kelly from the top down and putting that together. And he always talks about it, total preparation, and that's truly what it's about. Preparing on the field, preparing off the field, preparing in the off season, and getting to it.
How does Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata figure in?
So there's a few different things. I'm kind of weird. I have a lot of different, music tastes. So I'll go from, I'm sure you guys know Young Boy. I'll go from, my favorite song of all time, and the guys know it, is Pantera, Cowboys from Hell live version. It's a 101 proof. You guys know that song. But I'll put on anything. I put on Viking chant music. You'll find some different times. And this is a recovery day for us. So limited stress, and there's not a thought that goes unthought. Everything is thought out. Every single thing, every detail is thought out from the music that we're playing, from the lights that we have on or not have on, from the flow and the air and the temperature, and everything is thought out. If you guys don't think it is, then, between myself, Dr. Frakes, Coach Kelly, if you guys haven't learned by now, he's very smart and intellectual and understands all that as it combines into one, and we think of everything. And so that's part of it, and I like it. I feel like it makes me smarter, but it probably doesn't when you listen to classical music.
If you've been with him since Eastern, how is this evolution?
Central Michigan, not Eastern.
How has it allowed you guys to kind of, I guess, how much of a head start did you have when you got here, and then how much do you feel like you're really kind of reaching your max potential?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll say this: starting in 2014, one of the biggest things that we did from our standpoint, strength and conditioning or development, whatever you want to call it, is kind of looking at the high performance model, and that's looking at everything. GPS was a big deal to us, was getting GPS into our system, if you will, and kind of redefining that system. And so we started collecting data from the games, and so now we know what the games, what the game demand is from a physical output standpoint, and we can work ourselves back. So what I do in the off season, I don't just say, hey, let's lift a little bit more every week. There's a way that we get to where we want to get to, and it's fall camp, and so there's a reverse engineering, if you will, to get to the game and get to fall camp, really. So that was a big piece of it. And then we started implementing, daily wellness questionnaires to get feedback from the players of how they're doing, looking at tracking sleep and kind of, I'm speaking a lot in sports science, as you guys can notice. And that was kind of one of my major roles at Notre Dame when we were there. Obviously through Central Michigan and Cincinnati, the evolvement was just bigger programs and better athletes and, things like that. But I'll tell you this, and this is what I lean on. Coach Kelly, and knowing, he tells you guys all the time, 30-plus years of being a head coach, I lean on him. Like, he's going to know what to do instinctively. He's pretty damn good at knowing what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. But why not, be able to have the whole picture? And I kind of, describe myself as a hybrid, strength coach, if you will, where if I just had a barbell in the field, I'd probably be good, and I would be. Like, that's where I came up with, and that's where I believe it comes down to just hard work. But why not look at it? And he allows me to, have 4 full-time assistants with a GA and an intern, and have a sports science staff of, a director and an assistant director, and have all that so that we can come together and collaborate with Dr. Frakes and Owen and our mental performance and our position coaches and all that to know, hey, we can look at all this as a whole and figure out where to go next. And it's always we're steps ahead, but being flexible as we get to those places. Like, we're already planned out, knowing where we got to get to, and then week to week and game to game, when we have bye weeks, when we don't have bye weeks, things like that are all planned to a certain extent. But I think the evolution, how we got here, I think was we had a pretty good idea and understanding. And I'll tell you this, for what it's worth, this structure and this economy and efficiency and how we move about the building is the highest level. And how we have the fields right there, all of what we need right here. It's easy.
A lot of high school kids don't eat a lot of meals, and so the guys that sign to get here, that you have the task of putting weight on them. Since you've gotten here, has there been 2 or 3 guys that just you couldn't believe how much muscle they added in like a year's time? That just, guys that you were tasked with putting weight on.
I would say there's nobody that surprised me necessarily, but it just happens. And there's always kids that sometimes resist or don't have the right educational background or foundation, why or when or how to eat. And that's why it's invaluable to have Dr. Frakes and his staff. And you guys saw he's basically a strength coach. He can jump right in and he's with us at every training session, on the field, off the field practice. And so he gains instant respect. And along with myself and him being able to get with players individually and say, hey man, we need you to get here, 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 and hit these steps and don't go too fast, but we need you to grow, we need you to lose, whatever it may be. I would say there's not one person in my mind that surprised me, but I would say that we've had some good successes over the years, even since we've been here, that guys have made proper strides to get to where they need to be. And there's a lot of guys that need work.
We've seen guys get here in June and August. That's crazy.
Yeah, just consistency, and that's what it comes down to. And that's what like I said, if we just had that rack and the field and some calories, we're probably going to do okay. And it's just about doing it over and over and over again. I don't, hard work and all this stuff about how do you get them to come together and what's toughness? Toughness is doing it over and over and over and over and over again, and knowing that the end is somewhere down there, but it doesn't matter. It's not results oriented. It's about digging into the process every single day.
Have you actually noticed a difference in your guys' performance here in the weight room since all of this opened?
I would say the biggest difference, so we've only opened since training camp. Obviously, you guys know that since, I want to say August 1 is probably the day. And the biggest difference, I'll say, is our ability to recover, and we can quantify that. We can quantify that by how they're telling us, how hard practice is. We document that every day. How hard was practice? A Likert scale, 1 to 10. By this wellness questionnaire I keep referring to. How are you feeling? How stressed are you? How fatigued are you? How sore are you? We want them to be sore because that's adaptation, but there's times when we don't want them as sore. And we've seen that having recovery days, like you'll see in about 20 minutes right now, we're going to have a bunch of guys in here and there, doing recovery, and it's all organized. And that's the biggest thing, is the flow and the efficiency of how we've put this thing together. They like it and they feel good. Now, we also know they're not always going to feel good, but they feel better, and we've quantified it. And having days after, so practices after recovery days, we can look at the past and see, hey, maybe we didn't have as much output, as we had in the past. Well, now we're pushing beyond those barriers and be able to have great outputs day after recovery days.
How many NFL teams have this?
We got to wrap. A couple more.
I have no idea. I would say this facility, NFL teams, if you guys know, they're not set up like this. They're not set up for this large a group or recruiting and such like that. So I would say that we're close to the top of the highest level of how we've set up this building.
I think the question here is we all kind of scoffed at when he first mentioned it. But clearly there's this path that you guys have laid out. I can't help it. I guess just how quantifiable was that, or how important was that? Brian's this year's talking about.
It was one of the first things that we did. I mean, I've been doing it for years prior. I mean, we used to do it on pencil and paper. Now we built an app for the guys. It's all technology, right? And everybody has a phone, and they're on it. And it takes a little bit for them to understand that. One, if you say that you haven't slept or sore or stressed, it doesn't mean you get a day off. It just allows us to help them intervene if needed on the back end of things. So. But it's a big part of our process, and the big thing for Coach Kelly is, can you complete a task? Can you do something every day by noon to be able to let us know that you can get a job done, rather than just us chasing you down and things like that.
Brian talked about this being the most accountable team he's had here. You're seeing that through this kind of question.
We quantified it. We can literally tell you that we're about 75% more efficient in all things. Obviously, you guys have heard of the SWAT, so. Depends on the time of the year, whether it's spring workout accountability teams, summer or in-season workout accountability teams. And it's just a large system of very in-depth, and you kind of see it here, the different domains with the weight room, on the field, academics, and discipline. And we can see that all those things, the positivity of it and how guys are coming together and being more efficient, it's largely up from the first year we were here. So guys are buying in, and that's the best way to put it.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
All right.